Nope, nope, nope. And now we skedaddle. Today we talk about Look Outside, a new pixel art survival horror RPG, where just one peek out your window could leave you with extra limbs or fuse you together with wildlife, or your car, or all three. The premise, a mysterious cosmic event hits, and now looking outside can scramble your DNA. You're told it'll all blow over in 15 days, but you're stuck in your apartment until then. But look guys, the writing in this game is immaculate. Every character, every weird neighbor, every interaction weaves together in this eerie, beautiful narrative. Even when the residents aren't entirely coherent, or human, and every choice matters. Talk to that stranger, fight, flee, it all changes something. And then there's your neighbor. He checks on you daily, he's kind of comforting, but also I think he's looked outside. So what's he really like now? You don't know, you're just left to imagine it, and nothing is scarier than your imagination. You start off with the only sounds that keep you company are a ticking clock and your own footsteps. And it works. It makes the apartment feel less like a building and more like the last place left on Earth. And you can pass the time by brushing your teeth, taking showers to wash off that existential dread, cooking meals, playing video games, or scrolling social media. Which, side note, is pretty accurate with how the world would react and how influencers would react, so it's pretty funny. But exploration is where the game thrives. As you creep through dimly lit hallways, it's just your flashlight, your nerves, and your heart. Every door, every corner, you wonder, what great horror is about to greet me? Like when one of your deformed neighbors says they've been working on a big project, so don't go in that room, it's a big mess in there. When referring to a locked door in their apartment, wonder what monstrosity lies behind there. You'll explore until the day turns to night, and then you need to go ahead and head back to that apartment, because God himself only knows what happens during scary hours. And sometimes the horrors come to you. Imagine being scared stiff, wondering if you'll make it out alive with unimaginable horror taking place outside. You can't see it, and you're holed up in your living room with just your video games and the glow of your TV, and then you hear a knock at the door. Like, what? And you already know we looking through that peephole. State your business. Hello, I say as I hold my baseball bat. And yeah, I got scared. At a pixel game. I'm an adult, I pay taxes, and still, there's been multiple instances where something jumped out and I hollered and hit that note button. Combat is turn-based, clean, and intuitive. You got melee, ranged, items, and healing options. But not every encounter ends in a win. Sometimes you're better off scampering away like a little rat. Let's talk about the monster design. These poor souls looked outside and got rearranged. Extra limbs, missing flesh, organs on the outside. I mean, it's brutal. But also there's a deep sense of sadness in their designs. Like, these aren't just enemies, they're victims of something way beyond our comprehension, and the despair they're going through is sometimes hard to watch. And some still talk. You might even get their story if it's not too late. And your inventory, massive. You can equip weapons, accessories, and clothes, which, fun fact, is how you customize your stats. I had a buddy of mine download this game and spend an hour or so complaining about the lack of stat options, but before realizing his tank top gave him +2 speed. Everything you wear or put on changes your stats. You can also find collectibles that you might not use, but drifters sometimes show up wanting to trade, and they'll trade anything. So be looking for them because they might have some clothes or food that you need in a pinch. But hey, just because they're standing on that welcome mat doesn't mean they're welcome. So that's on you if you let them in. As you go deeper into the story, you'll meet potential party members. But trust? Oh buddy, that's complicated. It's complicated in normal life. I've lived in apartments. Some of these neighbors were weird creatures on their own. Now? Yeah, that's a no. There's this brilliant mechanic where XP isn't just in combat, it's for exploring dangerous areas. The longer you're out of your safe zone, the more danger you rack up, and the more XP you earn. Risk versus reward, baby. Play it safe or level up. This separates the men from the boys. And yeah, you can cook and craft, but only from the safety of your apartment. And I've heard complaints about that, but honestly, it adds tension. Like the hair on the back of your neck is going to be standing up until you reach your apartment, and you're always wondering when is the right time to go back. Sure, you can eat snacks and pat yourself up on the go, but nothing feels as safe as walking back into your room and locking the door behind you. But back to crafting. Yes, you can actually take home household items and combine them to make more recipes for new items. And there's not a legend guide to show you what makes what, so you'll just have to experiment at home. But that's part of the fun. I can't tell you how many times I'd be pouring random household chemicals together saying, "Let me cook," not knowing if I was going to make a bomb or just some disinfectant. Each night ends with you marking a day off your calendar reminder, the countdown creeps closer. And I gotta admit, I get excited to see what kind of nonsense my eyeball neighbor gets into while I sleep. My eyeball neighbor, that's my morning news. Some people check Facebook or X. I check in with the eyeball on the wall. There are puzzles, jump scares, and enough "what just happened" moments to keep your brain racing long enough after you've turned off the game. I walk from my gaming chair to my bedroom with my lights on, and largely because the pixel art during battle, phenomenal, unique, and somehow horrifying. The writing gives you dialogue options that feel natural, not like copy and paste RPG responses. And there's multiple dialogue choices you can choose from, and each of them matter. Do you want to press somebody for more answers, or will that make them angry and make them turn on you? Every character you meet is either intriguing, unsettling, or a little bit of both. And of course, you can manage your party by customizing their loadouts, but be aware, you're gonna have to deal with their weird quirks and abilities, and some are just plain weird. But there are choices for everything. Like, should I murder this clearly corrupted neighbor? Or should I move my plant next to the window to see if it mutates? And what about this blood trail? Is there a wounded ally I need to help on the other end, or an answer to a question I'd rather not ask? It's a game that constantly makes you wonder and then forces you to go find out. You can even decorate your apartment. I found an espresso machine later in the game, and honestly, if exploring wasn't so compelling, I'd just sit there drinking coffee, buying weapons, and playing video games, kind of like what I do in real life. And the puzzle solving is great, especially when tied to creepy speech or locked doors. One time I outran a monster, stumbled on a key, and immediately thought, oh, this is that key to the basement. And the cosmic horror is done right. It gives you just enough fuel for the imagination to take over, but leave it vague enough for your fear to outsize you. And if you notice, the apartment slowly decays around you. More damage, more trash, more death. And subtle world-building details that make it feel lived in and doomed. And this level of immersion doesn't make you feel like a player, but somebody that's by Lucas living the day by day. And the sound design, heavy synths, and it feels like you're in a John Carpenter movie. Pair that with some creepy ambient sounds, sudden growls, and red eyes blinking in the dark, it gets under your skin. And there was a point where a taxidermy creature that didn't look like a normal animal felt like it was following me around, and every time I turned around, it would be still. I mean, that's just enough to give you the hibby-jibbies. And everything builds toward that trapped feeling. Like no matter what you do, the walls feel like they're closing in on you. Combine that with body horror, unreliable allies, and some "wait, was that door already shut?" moments, and you've got an unsettling masterpiece. Even the news on your laptop gets more cryptic with each day. Less headlines, less sense, until eventually, no news at all. And that's the scariest kind. And let me go ahead and give you some advice. If you enter a room and it's packed with bandages and ammo and medkits, you're going to want to go ahead and hit that big save button, Bubba, because you're about to meet the Lord. But no, my first thought about the main character, Lucas, because this is how my mind works, well, hey, at least you don't have to pay rent. But plot twist, he does. Even in the apocalypse. Typical landlord behavior. You would think having a guy next door with tentacles would bring down the property value, but nope. At the end of the day, Look Outside is a pixelated masterpiece. The storytelling, the horror, the decisions, the moment that made me check if my wife's grown a third arm, it's all incredible. And it's got just enough comic relief, like when I was checking stalls in the bathroom and a ghost politely said, "Occupied." It's stuff like this that keeps things from being too overwhelming. But this game, man, it's special. It's got everything you want, and I'm running out of words to convince you to spend $10 on this one. And it's been one of the first games in a while that I simply can't put down. And not because I'm addicted to the level grind or frustratingly replaying a boss fight. I can't put it down because I have to see what happens next. It's like there is no good place to pause because you're always on the cusp of finding out more. So do yourself a favor and write 2 things on your checklist. Number 1, subscribe to my channel. Number 2, go add Look Outside to your cart. You will not regret it. So, would a mediocre gamer like Look Outside? The answer is yes.